And we are back. Welcome to my preview and predictions for the UEFA Champions League quarter-final first legs. Historically, the most dramatic round in the Champions League. With the 4 ties we have got coming up for you today, I expect nothing less than drama and entertainment once again. As always, this will be the first of 3 European videos this week. Tomorrow we'll be doing all of my previews and predictions for the Europa League. And then, of course, Wednesday will be previews and predictions for the Conference League quarter-final first leg. So if you are new around here and you haven't done so already, please do consider subscribing to the channel with notifications turned on so you don't miss out on any of those videos. And don't forget to drop a like on this video if you do enjoy all of my prediction series. As for today, though, we have these 4 mouth-watering Champions League quarterfinals to look forward to. As you can see at the top of your screen, my results and scores from the Champions League so far. Not doing too badly, I have to say. It was a pretty good second leg last time out. 5 out of 8 in the second legs in the last 16. But without any further ado, let's just get straight into this. We start off with the 2 games taking place tomorrow night. And the first of those sees Arsenal taking on Real Madrid at the Emirates. And for Arsenal this weekend, they could only manage just 1 point from their final trip to Goodison Park, all but ending their title chances with only a few games left. And what's got to be frustrating for them is that Liverpool even lost to Fulham in the Premier League this weekend as well, meaning that Arsenal could have closed the gap to 9 points, but instead it stays at 11. That said, it's still 1 more point than what Real Madrid got in their title race this weekend after they conceded a 95th minute winner to Hugo Duro of Valencia as they lost 2-1 at home, meaning that Barcelona go even further ahead in La Liga. More on them shortly as to how they got on at the weekend, but they did not lose. That is all I will say for now. In terms of the team news coming into this, the only player that is guaranteed to be missing for Arsenal is Raheem Sterling. He is suspended, but there are, of course, still some injury concerns as well. Jurrien Timber is probably the most noticeable one. Whether or not he is going to make it is the big question, although Ben White did really well on his return in the game at Everton at the weekend. And obviously, it should be noted that Arsenal did rest some key players for that Everton game. Again, most notably Bukayo Saka, who is expected to start this game against Real Madrid. As for the Spanish side travelling to Arsenal, they are also going to be without players. They are going to be without Tchouaméni. He is suspended, which is a massive loss for them because he either plays in midfield or more notably at the back this season because they still have a lot of defensive injuries. And with Alaba not playing at the weekend, at the moment it looks like Rudiger and Alaba are the only fit and available centre-backs. Like I say, with Tchouaméni also suspended. They still are going to be without Ferland Mendy at left-back as well. And there's still big question marks over the goalkeeper. Fran Gonzalez was forced into making his debut for Real Madrid at the weekend in that defeat to Valencia with both Lunin and Courtois out. As things stand, the expectation is that Courtois will be back and available for this one. And obviously the good news for Real Madrid is some of those key players like Rudiger and Vinicius Jr. have been cleared to play in this match following the controversies surrounding their celebrations in the Atletico Madrid game. Ultimately, I think even with all of the potential concerns for either side, I think most people are still going to have Real Madrid as favourites for this match, even though they are the away side. But I think there's a lot of things going in Arsenal's favour here. Obviously, Arsenal were the side that finished in the top 8 in the league phase. I still think at home they arguably should still be favourites. I think they've got more fit players in terms of their actual starting 11. I think Real Madrid are still a little bit all over the place. Both sides, like we've said, have just lost ground in their respective title races this weekend as well. And I do think that even though most people are going to say Real Madrid are going to win this, I would be very surprised to not see Arsenal get something from this match. For me, I'm torn between either a 2-1 either way or a 2-2 draw. But I'm actually going to go for Arsenal here. I think, like I say, these rounds tend to provide the most drama. And I think the most dramatic scoreline going into next week's second leg is Arsenal to take a lead back to the Bernabeu. So I'm actually going to go for a 2-1 win to Arsenal. But genuinely, real opportunities for both sides to get the victory here. I just have this little feeling Arsenal are going to take a lead back to Spain next week. The other game on Tuesday is arguably even harder to call than the Arsenal-Real Madrid game because it is Bayern Munich taking on Inter Milan. And Hey ho, Bayern Munich are the first side in this video so far that actually won this weekend. They won 3-1 at Augsburg on Friday night, which maintained their lead at the top of the Bundesliga. Inter Milan could only manage their second draw in a row, drawing 2-2 at Parma, meaning that their Serie A lead could be cut down to just 1 point if Napoli win their game at Bologna this evening. So, potential slip up from Inter Milan there, and obviously Bayern continuing to win their matches at the top of the Bundesliga. That said, Bayern Munich's victory has potentially come at a massive loss because Jamal Musiala appeared to pick up a muscular injury during that match, and they do have a fair few other defensive and all-round injuries as well, but I do stress it's the defence that are struggling. Both Upamecano and Alphonso Davies are both set to miss the remainder of the season. One of their backup defenders, Ito, is set to miss the remainder of the season. Like we just said, Musiala is now injured. Kingsley Coman is still injured, and there's still question marks over whether or not Manuel Neuer is going to be available for this game either. So some real issues for Bayern Munich in terms of team selection. As for Inter Milan, they do have a couple of potential injury issues as well, with Denzel Dumfries missing the game at the weekend and Bastoni going off at half-time with a suspected injury. Unclear at the moment whether or not either of those will play. They're also going to definitely be without Aslani in midfield. He is suspended, but other than that, the rest of their squad should be available to them. So in terms of actual starting lineups, I think Inter Milan are probably going to have a stronger set of players available to them. The last time these two sides met was in 2022 in the group stages of the Champions League back then. Bayern Munich winning 2-0 both home and away in those occasions. But I do think with that much defensive power missing and potentially Musiala missing as well, I think it takes a lot away from Bayern Munich's chances of winning this game, especially when you consider that we're now at the quarter-final stage and Inter Milan have still only conceded 2 goals so far in this tournament. Again, I think Bayern Munich will probably be considered the favourites to win certainly this leg, if not the entire tie. But I have a feeling, again, that Inter Milan are probably going to take something back to the San Siro this week. I'd be surprised to see Inter Milan win this first leg. I think, like I say, Bayern should still be favourites to take this first leg. But I'm actually going to go for a 1-1 draw. I think it's going to be a real fascinating game, this, with Inter, I think, taking something back to Italy. On to Wednesday then, and it is now time to talk about Barcelona and Borussia Dortmund. And I said that Barcelona ended up extending their lead in La Liga when we talked about Real Madrid losing to Valencia. What I didn't tell you is that they only extended it by 1 point because they were only able to manage a 1-1 draw at home to Real Betis, who, to be fair, are a very strong side at the moment. More on them in Wednesday's Europa Conference League video. But that draw means that they have extended their lead by 1 more point over Real Madrid in the La Liga title race. But more importantly, extends their unbeaten run in all competitions to 22 matches, which is an incredible run of form for Barcelona. For Borussia Dortmund, they won for the second weekend running. They won 4-1 away at Freiburg, which has actually seen them jump up to 8th place in the Bundesliga table. And unbelievably, just 5 points now off the Champions League places in Germany. If you didn't know, have a look at the Bundesliga table right now. There are 10 sides currently competing over the final 2 Champions League spots in the Bundesliga, and there are only 10 points separating those 10 sides. Absolutely crazy how close the race is for Champions League football in the Bundesliga right now. However, we're here to talk about this season's Champions League, not next year's. And in terms of the team news, there are no fresh concerns for Barcelona coming into this one. No fresh injuries picked up over the weekend, and they did rest their star man this season, Rafinha, from the game at Real Betis against Real Betis at the weekend, should I say. So he should be back in line to play in this one. For Borussia Dortmund, there will be no Pascal Gross. He is suspended for this one, but also they could be without Ben Sebaini, who went off injured in the game against Freiburg, and he's become quite a key player in the new system that Kovac has been playing with Dortmund, playing a 3-4-1-2, and he's been sort of like the left centre-back role. So if he's missing, that could be a big loss for them. What we do know is that the 2 highest goal contributors in this competition are going to be in action here. We've already just spoken about Rafinha. He currently leads the way with 16 goal contributions. But Girassi, Borussia Dortmund striker, is on 14 goal contributions as well. and both will be looking to add to their tallies here. The good news is that we do have a very recent head-to-head between these two sides. They actually played earlier this season in the league phase. That was at Borussia Dortmund, and it was a 3-2 victory to Barcelona on that occasion, going ahead on 3 different occasions in that match. They went 1-0 up, pegged back to 1-1, 2-1 up, pegged back to 2-2, before eventually winning it 3-2 on that occasion. You have to fancy them to get the victory here. Dortmund, like I say, it's not been the best season for them, but they have been strong in Europe. But Barcelona, at home, on the unbeaten run, after already winning in Germany already this season, I've got to go for them here, and I'm going to go for a 3-1 victory to Barcelona. And then finally, the only fixture of all 4 matches where both sides actually won this weekend. It's Paris Saint-Germain taking on Aston Villa. Paris Saint-Germain won 1-0 against Angers to secure yet another Ligue 1 title in France, despite making several changes to their starting lineup, including the likes of Ousmane Dembele, Nuno Mendes, and Bradley Barcola, none of them starting that match. For Aston Villa, they won 2-1 against their Champions League rivals Nottingham Forest in the Premier League, despite making 7 changes to their starting lineup themselves. So both sides resting players ahead of this match, and I honestly think that this has the potential to actually be the best match of the entire lot. I think most people are looking at this as probably the lowest profile game out of the 4, but I genuinely think it's got the most chance of being the most entertaining, but we shall see. What it all means, though, is coming into this, PSG have won their last 6 matches in a row in all competitions. Aston Villa have won their last 8 matches in a row in all competitions. So both sides are going to be really up for this. And like I say, this is why I think it's going to be such an entertaining game, because both sides are free scoring and getting wins recently. In terms of the team news for Paris Saint-Germain, they will be without their captain, Marquinhos. He is suspended for this one. But other than that, basically, both sides have fully fit squads coming into this match. So we're just going here on face value. There's not even a head-to-head record to speak of coming into this one either. So we are literally just looking at how well the teams are playing, who they've got available to them. And it is always worth reminding you that even though Paris Saint-Germain did just beat Liverpool in the last round, they were the side that are the lowest ranked left in this competition after the league phase, finishing 15th in that league phase, with Aston Villa finishing in the top 8. The question really is, can Aston Villa handle that Paris Saint-Germain attack that did cause Liverpool so many problems? For now, I'm saying no, but I do think Villa are going to get certainly some licks in against Paris Saint-Germain in this game. So I'm going to go for the PSG win, but I'm going to keep it interesting. I'm going to give Villa something to fight for at Villa Park next week, and I'm going to go for a 3-2 victory to Paris Saint-Germain. But watch this space. If they play at their absolute best, I can see PSG blowing Aston Villa away in this first leg. But hopefully for their sake, that doesn't happen. But that is going to be it for today's video. As always, let me know all your thoughts down in the comment section below. Let me know anything you think I've missed regarding any of these 4 fixtures. If you haven't done so already, please do subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the other 2 European videos we've got coming up for you this week. Thank you very much for watching once again. I'll see you tomorrow.